Heirloom, America Biggest Scams, and this is Common Sense News. My main focus is to spread the word of World War III. I also want to combat the propaganda in America and save the American people with the truth and information. Okay? Earlier today, we talked about how the war begun. And just a quick catch up for the people who don't know, okay? Israel started World War III on June 13th, 2024, early in the morning, when they bombed Iranian facilities. This was an unprovoked attack which unalived top military brass, okay, top leaders, military leaders, as well as their nuclear scientists that they invested a lot of time and money into so they can build their nuclear facilities so they can have nuclear energy. Um, so let's see. They have been bombing Iran since June the 13th. And Iran has been responding with their own ballistic missiles. I'll call them supersonic. Okay. So this is what we have. People don't understand what's going on. We have two countries, Israel, which is backed by Europe, and the United States government, which is so they're backed by Europe and the United States government, and then you have Iran, who is backed by Russia, China, and North Korea, and both sides refuse to surrender. Okay, this is not a small conflict, as the whole Middle East, Europe, and Asia will be involved in this war. There has been an exchange of attacks that have left many unalived. Okay, so but right now we're seeing Israeli citizens fleeing because of all this. Most of them going to Cyprus, Britain, Paris, or New York City. Okay, so Israel bombed Iranian civilian buildings and blasted civilian cars recently. In response, Iran bombed Mossad. So, what is Mossad? It is the Institution for Intelligence and Special Operations. It's popular. Its popularity is known as Mossad. It's popularly known as Mossad. Sorry, Mossad is a national intelligence agency of the state of Israel. Okay, it is one of the main entities in the Israeli intelligence community, alongside Amen and Shin Bet, whatever that is, if I said it right. This agency is like the FBI, the CIA, right? So I'm believing this building is kind of like their Pentagon. So that's what they bombed. That in Iran bombed that. So now Donald Trump has gotten involved, of course, on his Truth Social, and Donald Trump demanded total surrender from Iran. He threatened the supreme leader. He said if they do not have total surrender, he added that he knows exactly where the supreme leader is, and he's not gonna take him out right now. So that was a threat. He okay. And Iran dismissed that threat. They don't care about that stuff. And at the same time, they're trying to have talks. The Europeans are trying to have talks with them. So Iran, they continue to protect themselves and have returned fire and hit Israel with multiple ballistic missiles, crippling Israel to the point people have to flee on foot, bus, or boat. No air flights in or out of Israel. Okay? So this is serious. And America has been pledging to protect Israel for decades. So and right now, there's a military buildup in Europe. So currently, European nations. So there's a military buildup in Europe, but then at the same time, European nations are trying to hold talks with the Islamic Republic. Now, why? When, in my opinion, it's pointless. Common sense would say to you, Israel is still bombing Iran. Donald Trump just threatened the supreme leader of Iran. So, what would talks with Europe even help? It wouldn't help. It just doesn't even make sense. So it's all smokescreen. They want to act like they want peace, but they don't want peace. Okay, so this is World War III is not gonna stop. They're going all in on this, and they have right now. They're planning their next attack, what they're gonna do, and Donald Trump wants to make a big statement. You know how his personality is. He want to make a big statement. So yeah, so the people who are currently fleeing Israel, it looks like they're causing problems in some of the countries that they're going to, because when they get to the airport, people are booing them and stuff like that. In one video, it shows a lady, and she's like, she got an Israeli flag on her, and like, then somebody put their middle finger up at the people in Paris. This is people in Paris, Italy, at the Paris, Italy, right? Yeah. So these are people from Paris that they're doing this stuff to, and put up the middle finger. So I already said that to you guys. So oh, they were getting booed. They were booing them when it was going through the airport. They were being booed by the people in Paris. So the people in Paris were booing them. So in America, people are being distracted. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. People are being distracted with mass deportation and learning their American roots, the American Indian roots. Those are the things that's going on right now. And of course, there's some other stuff about killings with police and stuff. People are preoccupied with other things. So the world seems not to be concerned. Like America does not seem to be concerned with the world. America is focused on their own personal problems, while this whole world war is being started, and America is going to be a major part of it. And they may even try to force people into war. So if they're trying to force, how you doing, human? So if they try to force people, right? So let's say they try to force people into, the next World War III. Now people want to start paying attention to what's going on, and by then it's going to be already too late. So we need to get the ball rolling right now before we even get to that far. Because this is not our war. We didn't start this war. Israel start the war. They shot they did the first attack. Okay. Now, it seems as if that we don't have, as America, we don't have long range missiles like the ballistic missiles that they have. We don't have that technology. So that's why we have to get into airplanes and fly over Iran to bomb them, which is dangerous because they're going to find a way to stop that. And so common sense tells us that this is not going to stop. All right. So let's get into this. So I want to talk a little bit more about this before I stop. But it's a lot going on. So I'm going to talk about what I talked about earlier as well. So for the people who did not see it, we're going to talk about it. So this all started June the 13th, 2025. So what happened that day? Israel decided to make a preemptive strike on Iran unprovoked, killing high-ranking military and scientists. All right. Iran response was quick and precise, and they have been attacking each other ever since June the 13th, guys. Okay, ever since June the 13th, and they got different articles on this. So I do want to let y'all know, right, that let's say a country bombed the Pentagon, right? They bombed the Pentagon. Um, they bombed the Pentagon. We're going to war with them. Like we're not gonna let that go. That we're not gonna let that slide. So right now, you know that Israel is not gonna let that slide. And it is after seeing what Israel has done to Gaza, you know they plan to do mass destruction to Iran. So once they do mass destruction to Iran, you know China and Russia is going to get in there. Okay, they're gonna join the fight because the mass destruction on Iran is going to come from American airplanes, American bombs, American pilots, American, you know, it, it it's going to be American, and you're going to have some Israelis, but most of them is going to be us. And so once that happens, that's when we're going to have a real big problem in America. So I just want to keep you guys up to date. So it says British U.S. warships dock off southern Cyprus amid Israeli war on Gaza, right? So this area is where what a lot of Israelis are going to. That's where they're sending all of their their pilots, their jets and everything, their fighter jets, they're retreating to Cyprus. So they're leaving Israel, retreating to Cyprus. So this article I'm about to read you from 10 months ago. So they've been planning for this war for a while, because why is this the place that everything's going? Everything's going to Cyprus, but they've been building up military forces there for 10 months. So this is from 10 months ago. The density of foreign military forces in Cyprus is increasing as more than 1,000 commandos are kept ready at the airport inside the UK sovereign base. So, I mean, this been going on for like the Europe has been involved the whole time. That's why I said common sense is them Europe trying to talk to them. Iran is like, okay, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, we'll talk to you, but we don't believe anything you're saying. You know what I mean? Because we know that if I know as a regular person that they're building up military in the UK, or you want to call it Britain, right? Iran knows that. Okay, that's common sense. So the British assaulted ships. The British ships had docked off the coast of southern Cyprus, if I said that right. Now, the 100 commandos are positioned at the United Kingdom's military base airport in Akrotiri. I don't know. I said that wrong. As the numbers of foreign military forces increases amid heightened tensions in the Middle East, according to local media. So this is happening 10 months ago, before June the 13th. Okay, so when they try to act like they weren't trying to have war with Iran and stuff like that, they've been preparing for war with Iran. And so all Iran was waiting for was the first strike. That's why when they struck them Friday morning, they got struck back Friday night, because they were already preparing for this. They already knew what was going on in Europe. Everybody knows what's going on in Europe if you're actually paying attention. It said more than one British ship arrived off the. It says ambitious assault ship. I don't know. I can't even say the word. I try to skip it. Ambitious assault ship arrived off the coast of southern Cyprus. However, no additional information were provided about their exact numbers. So now they're being secretive about how many they have, how many, So why would they be so secretive? Normally we're really out in the loud and like, yeah, we got 1,000 warships and all this over here and there. We say that when we're posturing, we're trying to scare people. But slap my belly. I ain't got no belly, man. What you talking about? Okay, on Friday, the USS Wasp, a United States Navy ambitious assault ship, docked at the port in southern Cyprus. While opposition parties and some activists protest the U.S. warship's arrival at the port as part of the port visit. So this has been going on for a while, guys. It's and you sit here and say, okay, what are we gonna do about this? Like, we have to, first of all, we gotta be, and we gotta know what's going on, right? We definitely gotta know what's going on. I'm gonna put this like this, so I think this will be better. Oh, that's not better. Okay, that's better. Then it slides on me. Dang. Okay. I guess it's not gonna work for me today. It's cool. Oh, it's working. All right. So we're going to keep it going. Earlier this month, the Pentagon announced that the U.S. will deploy additional military assets to the Middle East ahead of possible Iranian retaliation after the assassination of Hamas political bureau chief Esma Haniya by Israel. So they've been preparing this for a while. They've been killing a lot of, or I'm sorry, unaliving a lot of their leaders and stuff. So they're looking for a response, and they haven't been responding. Whenever they take out a leader, they replace that leader the same day. The way that their system works, anybody can be replaced. You know, so that explains June the 13th, because they had to do something preemptively. They've been building up for this war, and it just hasn't been happening for 10 months. So they had to do something. They're ready. They're ready for this war. And as more planes going to the Middle East, they have dozens and dozens of uh, fighter jets, and they got the B-12. I think it's the B-12 bomber. They got the all types of stuff is going on. So Iran vowed, right? So they're doing all this stuff to them, right? Iran vowed harsh punishment for Israel for the killing of their leader on Israel on Iranian soil. So they killed them on his own land, on his own sovereign land. So you said the plan is greater Israel. Yeah, but that plan is not going to come to fruition. The world is not going to let it happen. The world is actually against them. If you look at the comments on these posts, you would see that about 99% of the comments is against Israel, and they're against them because of Gaza. Now, it ain't got nothing to do with me. What I'm here for is to report this information, okay? And I want to make sure it's basic information for everybody to understand. So Hezbollah is also expected to retaliate after Israel assassinated Shor. So now, until June the 13th, Iran has only vowed to do things. But as soon as their country was bombed, now they're destroying Israel. They destroyed their main hospital. And one of the reasons why they did that, Israel was hiding, right? Israel was hiding weapons of mass destruction underneath the hospital. They had a military base underneath the hospital. They had all types of weapons underneath the hospital, and military personnel underneath the hospital that they blew up. Okay, and Israel has been bombing and blowing up Iran, facilities for uranium and stuff like that to make um, nuclear power, because they're trying to have nuclear power for their country. So that's what's going on right now. It says Israel is accused of genocide at the International Court of Justice, which ordered it to immediately halt its military offensive in the southern city of Rafah. Okay, so that's something else. So that's not what that. This could be part of World War III too, but I'm not sure. All right, so I'm gonna go to it. So that's gonna be it for today because I do have company, and but I just want to let everybody know what's really going on. So if y'all have any questions, this is the time to ask me questions. 2 minutes of questions, whatever the case may be. The city of Rafah is in Palestine. That's old news. Okay, so that's old news. Okay, so basically, it is old news, but it has everything to do with what's going on right now. And when you look at you can go on TikTok and you look at any of the videos where Israel is have been bombed, you will see the comments, and everybody is thanking Iran and saying negative things about Israel. So right now, Israel is losing the propaganda war that they're, and right now, I don't know what will happen if we continue this, because normally when we go into war, we have the world backing us. Right now, the world is against us. And so it's best, and Americans don't even know this. Like, we're Americans, and we don't want war. We voted for Trump because we didn't want war, but right now it's about to be a war. So we all need to start passing off this information so we can all stop this. You know what I mean? Because if we don't stop it, it may be your kids or your grandkids that may be drafted. This may go on for 20, 30 years. China has billions of people. They have more men than women. So they have about millions of men that need to be sent to war so they can even out their population. They can lose 30 million men and then they'll be fine. That'll actually help out their country. We don't want this war, okay? We won World War II because we had factories in America. People was in America working in the factories. We don't have factories anymore. We sent all that over there to China. In World War III, China got all the factories. They're going to be making all the weapons, and we're not going to be able to do anything about it because they have more people than us, more factories, and I mean, come on. This is a war we don't want, okay? So I don't know what kind of delusion these people have. They've been planning this war for probably 50, 60, 70 years. Who knows? But at this point, I don't think they're smart enough to realize that this war is going to put America in jeopardy. We're going to be in real jeopardy. Okay? So people need to go ahead and really take this serious. Now my battery about to die. What the? Oh man. All right, so I'm about to be done anyway. Think about this, guys, that you're listening to me. Let's say that in America, every city has Chinese restaurants everywhere. And let's say just one or two of those restaurants, they have special Chinese um, intelligence. And they're just gathering intelligence on America. You know, they're delivering food to their local neighborhood, but they're mapping out the place, figuring out what is what. You know what I mean? There could be, or we could have somebody that's a Iranian man, and he's a secret agent, and he's over here, and he's working as a Uber driver, right? And he's driving all around cities and stuff as an Uber driver, and that's something that's normal. But when he goes home, he maps out stuff where all our facilities is at. Man, we're vulnerable. We're way more vulnerable than we think we are. We got all type of enemies just driving around in America that we don't know are enemies. And I'm telling you, that's why we're having mass deportation. This is common sense. Mass deportation is because we're planning to have World War III, and we cannot have all these foreigners in our country during World War III. It just doesn't make sense. That's why they're doing this mass deportation. They're doing it quickly before this war starts. Once they get once they get a certain amount of foreigners out of America, that's when they're going to turn it up to the next step, because they can't have a bunch of foreigners in here in the country while they're having World War III. That's common sense. Everybody think they're kicking them people out because they're just because of this and that. No, because they don't want them there during a world war. So my battery about to die, guys. It's, I mean, it's at 4%. Um, what else? That whole so we gotta do something about this, guys. So I want to say thank you for watching me. It was a lot of y'all watching me. I just started this today, and I'm gonna go ahead and post this video as well. And I'm gonna be live tomorrow twice, in the morning and the afternoon, and I'm gonna be doing that every day because we need to know what's going on. Okay. So I love you guys. Okay. Peace, not war. Right. All right. That's it.